Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are jumping straight into something pretty fascinating, I think. It's where AI meets creativity and really changes the game for intellectual property.
Yes, specifically how old works, public domain stuff gets turned into brand new owned IP.
Exactly. We're looking at how AI is basically turbocharging creativity and, fundamentally shifting who owns the final product.
And our focus today is this new feature, story adaptation, from Harmin Books, you've probably heard of them, the AI publishing platform.
Right?
This isn't just some minor update. It feels like a real mechanical shift in how content gets sourced and owned.
So the mission for this deep dive.
Basically, to unpack the tech and the strategy,
Mhm.
how exactly does this AI take, say, a classic novel, something really old, public domain, and transform it into something totally new, something you can own, something you can monetize right away?
Got it. So if you're listening and wondering how big media franchises might get built going forward,
This is pretty much a look under the hood.
yeah, this is the blueprint, or at least a big part of it. We're digging into the mechanics of content ownership when, frankly, the barriers to creating and adapting stuff are just dropping like stones.
Okay, so let's start with the feature itself. Story adaptation. This was announced, November 8th, 2025, out of Detroit.
That's the one. So what's the quick pitch? What does it actually do?
Well, the function is pretty smart, legally speaking. Harman Books built this tool so creators, authors, whoever, can take public domain books, classics where the copyright's expired.
Like Dickens or maybe Verne?
Exactly, stuff like that. And they adapt them into works that are crucially original and copyrightable.
Ah, okay, so it's about making them ownable again.
Precisely. It pulls them out of that, let's call it heritage category, stuff you can't really monetize directly, and puts them squarely into the licensable asset pile. It's fundamentally redefining where new IP comes from.
And the value here isn't just, hey, read this old story again. It's about creating fresh ownership. I thought the quote from Hugh Rivers, the CEO of GMB Entertainment, was telling.
Oh, yeah, she nailed it. She didn't talk about just retelling stories. She said the goal is to empower creators to build their own intellectual property, not just recycle old ideas.
Right. Building IP.
Exactly. The focus is transformative, taking timeless public domain classics, her words, into living, breathing narratives for today's audiences. So the author uses the AI to build a new world, a new voice, basically a new property. The classic is just the jumping off point, not a constraint.
Okay, conceptually that clicks. But let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
If I say feed Pride and Prejudice into this thing,
Yeah.
how does the AI actually change it? What's the process that makes the output legally new, not just a copy?
Right, good question. It seems to use a pretty structured process focusing on 4 specific capabilities. The goal is always making sure the end result is distinct, both creatively and legally.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, it's conceptual. The AI helps rewrite plot lines and characters. It can shift them into entirely new worlds or even different genres.
So like turning Moby Dick into a sci-fi space epic. Or maybe Sherlock Holmes into a fantasy quest.
Exactly that kind of thing. A big shift in tone, setting, structure. But, just changing the setting isn't always enough for copyright.
Right, needs more substance.
Which brings us to the second capability. The tech is designed for adding substantial original material, new lore, original dialogue, different themes. It's about adding creative depth, not just, paint. It builds a foundation for this new narrative world.
Okay, that makes sense for originality.
Mm-hmm.
But hang on, if I did that manually, writing a cyberpunk Hamlet or whatever, it'd take me ages just to write the manuscript.
Well,
What about speed?
well, that's the third capability, and it's a big market advantage. The system can apparently generate manuscripts almost instantly.
Instantly.
That's what they claim. Ready for publication, ebook, paperback, and, this is interesting, a finished audiobook file, too.
Wow, so you go from idea to a multi-format product package almost immediately.
Pretty much. That massively accelerates the whole publishing timeline. It's kind of unprecedented, really.
Okay, instantly generated manuscript. Now, the fourth point feels like the most critical one, especially if we're talking about building a business on IP. How can an AI ensure originality and copyright eligibility? That sounds tricky.
Yeah, that's the proprietary bit, isn't it? The secret sauce.
Yeah.
This is probably why the platform exists. The AI isn't just adapting, it's apparently running algorithms specifically designed to create maximum creative distance from the original public domain work while still keeping a coherent story.
So it's trying to hit that legal threshold for originality.
Essentially, yes. It's designed to generate a manuscript that meets the legal standard required to get a new copyright. That's what makes the output a fresh asset. something you can license, adapt, sell, whatever, because that initial legal risk, the fear of being too similar, has supposedly been dealt with upfront by the tech.
That's a huge piece of friction removed, solving the derivative work problem before it even starts.
Exactly. It creates new space for creators.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Harmin Books isn't just some indie company. It's part of Global Media Bank, GMB. Why does that matter? What does vertically integrated IP ecosystem actually mean for someone using this?
Oh, the parent company is absolutely key here. Being part of GMB means Harmin Books plugs directly into this whole existing media tech machine.
Right.
For a creator, vertical integration just means efficiency and control. GMB manages the whole pipeline from the AI-assisted writing bit right through to global distribution for books, music, even audio dramas, all under one roof.
So no need to shop your book around for a music deal or an audio adaptation elsewhere.
Pretty much. It cuts out all those external deals, the negotiations, the delays that usually slow things down when you try to adapt to media.
That internal streamlining must be how they plan to create franchises so quickly. Okay, so what are the pieces? You mentioned divisions working together.
Yeah, there are three main parts under GMB that work together. First, obviously, Harmin Books itself. That's the AI publishing and distribution part we've been talking about, including those instant audiobooks. Second, and this is really interesting strategically for building a franchise today, is GMB Music.
Wait, GMB Music. How does a music distribution arm connect directly to AI-generated books?
Well, think about modern franchises. They almost always have a sound, right? An auditory identity. GMB Music distributes to all the big platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, you name it.
Okay.
So a new book from Harmin can launch almost simultaneously with its own official soundtrack or mood music, maybe sound effects. Often generated alongside the text, it locks in the sound of the franchise right at the start instead of waiting years for someone else to maybe make a soundtrack.
Ah, I see. So you launched the IP with both literary and musical components ready to go. 2 revenue streams, unified creative vision. Makes sense. What's the third part?
The third division is GMB Entertainment. Their focus is more on, let's say, high-touch adaptations, specifically audio dramas. But what's really notable here, the source material stresses this, is that GMB Entertainment uses 100% human involvement for these productions.
Oh, interesting. So AI for the initial book and IP creation, but humans for the complex audio drama adaptations.
Seems like it. Even with all the AI power, they recognize that for something like a fully voiced, acted audio drama, you still need that human artistic touch, that refinement.
That's a smart balance. AI for speed and scale at the start. Humans for the deeper, nuanced adaptations. So the result of all this integration is basically a direct path from writing the book to potentially having a whole media package.
Exactly. You called it a direct pipeline earlier, and that's right. A pipeline from story idea to full-scale media adaptation. Your book can morph into music, soundtracks, cinematic audio, all within this one GMB system.
It's like a closed loop designed for rapid franchise building.
Yeah, it removes so many traditional barriers.
And connecting this back to the big picture, Kevin Rivers, the CEO of the parent company, Global Media Bank, he wasn't subtle about the ambition here.
No, not at all. His quote was about building the future of creative ownership, where a single story can evolve into a global franchise.
The global franchise.
Right. They're using tech to basically erase the friction, the time, the cost, the legal headaches that used to make it so hard to jump an IP from book to music to audio and beyond. They see it as empowering creators by giving them these multi-format opportunities almost instantly.
So let's bring it home for the listener. If you're a creator looking at this system, what's the bottom line? It's not just about selling some books. It's about building a real asset, a literary IP.
A profitable literary asset.
Right, profitable. And one that has built-in pathways to become a multimedia franchise. It really backs up that phrase Harmin Books uses, an AI-powered literary publishing ecosystem. You start with raw material, anyone can use public domain, and you end up, fast, with a multi-platform IP that you own completely.
It's just a massive speed up of the normal IP lifecycle. You know, usually an author waits, hopes for a film option, maybe a music license years down the line. This model tries to build those possibilities right into the very beginning of the process.
And crucially, it secures the core IP with that copyright eligibility claim right from the outset.
Yeah, removing that initial uncertainty is huge.
Okay, so that's the strategic depth that makes this so interesting. Let's summarize this deep dive then. Harmin Books' story adaptation feature uses AI, pretty sophisticated AI it seems, to take public domain work stuff that was basically unmonetizable heritage.
Right.
And turns it into fully owned, copyrightable IP ready for multiple media formats. And this all happens inside the GMB ecosystem, linking books instantly to music and audio drama potential.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a pretty big question for you, the listener, to chew on. If this technology really removes the main bottleneck, the time and cost of adapting stories and securing rights, how much of the world's public domain library are we going to see brought back to life like this?
You mean resurrected as new franchises across books, music, audio?
Yeah, like what percentage of all those classics out there will get this treatment in, say, the next 5 years? Think about the sheer volume of new yet old IP that could suddenly flood the market. It could really reshape the whole media landscape, couldn't it?
That is a staggering thought to end on. Okay, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.